Hello, and welcome to another episode of Business and Beyond's Feature Friday with Tanya Bartolini. Today, I have a special guest who is also a good friend of mine, David Oakes, and he owns and operates Logan Oakes Communications and Sky Data UAV. David has more than 30 years experience providing marketing and communications consulting services, as well as serving as a marketing manager for a national construction equipment rental company, a national electric utility and telecommunications engineering and construction firm, and an international technology company. He has been a Part 107 certified pilot since September 2016 and has been flying UAVs since 2015. He also was a reporter, business writer, and section editor for newspapers for a decade. An accomplished writer, photographer, videographer, and graphic designer, he holds a bachelor's degree in communications from the University of Alabama. David grew up in an Air Force family and has lived in Germany, Japan, and Okinawa, where he developed an appreciation for different cultures, foods, and people, no matter what language is spoken. He enjoys traveling and has visited and photographed in India, across Europe, South Africa, and Lebanon. Welcome, David. I'm so excited to have you here today.
Thank you, Tanya. It's good to be here today.
So I love all of the things that you've done, all of your accomplishments, from journalism to marketing communications. I mean, you really have a very nice flow and what's that word? A nice flow, and you like your career just kind of kept going forward and getting bigger and bigger from what you started, right? And you just kind of kept building up on that.
True.
So can you can you give me just an overview of how that happened and why you got into what you're doing now?
Sure. Um, I think I've always been a curious person, and my early years helped define who I am, and being able to adapt to different circumstances and with different people. I originally intended to go into the Air Force, but decided at the last minute, the very last minute, as I was about to put my signature on a piece of paper and go off into the Air Force, that really wasn't what I wanted to do.
Wow.
And I decided that after taking a couple of journalism classes, that writing and journalism and interviewing people was a passion. And I did that for 10 years. I worked for newspapers in Alabama and South Florida. And when the last newspaper that I worked at went out of business or was going out of business, I decided that I wanted to try it on my own. And trying on my own means taking my writing skills and offering those to businesses. And as it so happens, Nova Southeastern University. And working for them got me going in a direction that was totally unexpected. Through one of the people who worked there, who was married to a fellow who worked for a telecommunications construction company, and they needed help, and I started working with them as a consultant, and then it just sort of continued on over the years.
So when you say as a consultant for marketing and communication, can you explain a little bit of what that means in your line of work and what you actually do?
Mostly what I'm hired for is taking information and packaging it into uh, a concise words. What does this company do? I explain what the company does by writing and also through photography and sometimes through video that enables the company to present themselves to their market in a way that's effective and meaningful. So as a writer and a former journalist, I'm able to listen and understand what they do, and then be able to take that information and condense it into um, an interesting understanding of what they're about.
And so how would they use that information? But
So they could put it in brochures, put it on their website, write a script for a video, have speeches for executives, anything that is oriented toward the brand of the company that enables these various elements to reflect that brand.
okay, so you're basically making the copy for them that they can use on numerous platforms and in different modes.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so how did you get into the UAVs?
Okay. So as a photographer, I'm always interested in looking at uh, situations from different angles, whether it's a person or a landscape or a building. And I decided that after reading about drones, UAVs, that this was going to be a thing. And as it turns out, it has become much bigger than anyone really possibly could have imagined. But early on, I said, okay, well, I'll build a website and I'll put myself out there as a company that can provide drone services, basically photography and video for construction companies and realtors. This was 2015. So I didn't own a drone, but I decided that I could do it. So one day I got a telephone call soon after I put the website up from an engineering firm that said, "Can you take some pictures for us of our job sites and areas that we've improved?" And I said, "Sure." So as I was about to walk into the store to buy a $1,200 drone, I called them up and said, "Are you really going to do this?" And they said, "Yes." So I went in, bought the drone, and started flying. Since then, I've become a little more sophisticated and um, have gone through about 12 drones over the course of the years, buying different technology, upgrading technology as it improved. And currently, my main focus is still engineering firms, but structural engineering firms that are doing building inspections in South Florida of high-rise buildings that are at their inspection threshold. So that every 30 years they've got to be inspected. With the collapse of the Chamberlain Towers, that intensified, and now there's a need for seeing the outside of the buildings that are some upwards of 40 stories high to understand what's happening. Um, Buildings that are constructed near the ocean uh, are made with concrete and steel does have a problem. It tends to corrode and rust. And if it happens inside the building, it can weaken the structure. If it's happening on the outside, it's an indication of an interior problem. And my photography and video of the outside of buildings, which is done in a very structured manner, enables the structural engineering firms to see what's going on.
So without your drones and being able to go look at it from the outside, do they have a different way of
Um,
assessing the damage?
yeah, a very more costly way. They have to drop swing stage. It's a platform over the side of the building and then go down the side of the building and take photographs or tap, tap, tap on the side of the building to see if there's any hollow places. That typically would take week, 10 days, depending on the size of the building. Um, I can do my job in less than a day and provide them with the information more quickly.
That is fantastic. So, I mean, I know you enjoy your job. I know you have developed your career over the years with different things. Can you tell us what has been the biggest obstacle that you have faced in having your own business? And more importantly, how have you overcome it?
So technology is continually changing, both on the marketing side as well as the drone side. Um, Drone side is a bit easier because the type of software and the drones that are available pretty much can automate or prevent drones from endangering other people. Um, Marketing communications is a challenge. Um, it's rapidly evolving, especially with um, marketing on the internet, building sophisticated websites, which I don't do. I farm all that out because I know my limitations. Um, I I mainly focus on what I do best, and the challenge of trying to get too far out there and trying to do too much for people without really understanding the basic fundamentals of how to do it, such as advertising on Google or providing uh, websites that need to be coded or um, other things that current marketing does that I can't do. And to me, it's a little bit frustrating because I'd like to be able to do it, but at the same time, I understand that there are better people out there that can provide that service, and I would rather hire them as a consultant to do that job for my client versus me trying to learn something again and then providing that service. The key though is to understand what deliverables that person can provide and how it's going to help the client, because if I don't understand what they're doing and I give that client that that service, then and it's wrong, then it looks bad on me, looks bad on that person. So it's important to have sort of a general overview of what's going on in the industry, and then to be able to pick and choose the people that can help to accomplish that.
So what you're saying is you can't do everything by yourself, and
That's
the
correct.
art of delegation is very important as a business owner.
Totally. And I find that difficult because I do want to do everything. But I also realize that it's important to let go and to trust, really trust other people to do the work that they know how to do best.
That is wonderful because that's one of the ways that you can grow your business, right? There are only so many hours in a day, and one person can only do so much work. And so by finding other people and delegating and building teams, you're able to serve more people in a better manner and give them better products and services. Is that
That's true. I've done that with the drone business, marketing communications. So with marketing communications, I have a few clients that I do work for. And I'm not really looking to grow that business now, especially at my age. But it's a that portion of the business enables me to work from anywhere in the world. I've been on cruise ships, I've been in an RV, I've been up in the mountains, and I can provide that service to those clients anywhere. The drone business is a very personal business. And there are some times when I cannot be on a job site providing that service. So I hire other drone pilots to do that. One of the drone pilots I work with is a former airline pilot. So he's very conscious of safety and procedure and being able to get the drone in the right place and take pictures. And another one is an Army veteran, so he's also very in tune with process and deliverables. So again, it goes back to the trust and being able to have people that you can work with that'll fulfill the responsibilities. But yeah, it's a challenge to be able to let go because I'm very much a hands-on person.
but it sounds to me like what you're saying, especially when you talked about these two pilots that you have hired, you got very clear on what characteristics you want your colleagues to have, your people that you're hiring, that you're working with, and you got very clear on what you need them to do. So you were able to find people that you can trust who are going to do the job the way you want it and who are conscientious of the traits that your clients are looking for as far as safety and things of that nature. Is that a fair
That's
assessment?
that's correct. I've set expectations for the clients based upon the previous deliverables, and I need to. excuse me, have that type of consistency in future deliverables. So even though it's just pictures and video, it's a systematic process of collecting that information and organizing it in a way that once I receive it, I'm able to create a outline for the client so that they can follow to know where everything is. So when instructing the pilots, you have to fly 20 to 30 feet from the building, no more than that. And you've got to use this particular type of drone, and it's got to follow this pattern up and down the side of the building. And I need so many photographs at the intervals so that they understand what it is that they're doing, and I'm able to look at all the information, pictures and images that they give me so that I can organize it according to what the client needs.
And have you found that that approach gets you what you're looking for more times than not?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
because yeah, by defining the needs and having them follow those instructions, yes, I get what I need.
So you're utilizing standard operating procedures that you have developed for your business to be able to hire others to do the same thing that you're doing, even though you are not looking to grow it at this time, right?
Correct.
Yes, but that is setting you up to where you can grow it if you want to, if you change your mind later on, correct?
That's correct. Right.
That's
Yeah, and by having that relationship with the clients, they continue to come back to Sky Data and say, we need more of this. And this helps us to serve our clients because ultimately that's what it's all about, is that I'm just one of many elements that they're using in order to provide valuable information about the condition of a building, whether it's safe or not. And because of that, I have to be very conscious of what the end result is, what the goal is for the client.
that. That is wonderful. You touched upon another thing that I wanted to go back to. Um, and that is, oh, snap. It just came out of my mind. Hold on. We need to edit this part, Joshua.
Yeah,
um, oh man, you were talking about
was it the marketing side?
no. Oh man, it just flew out of my brain. That's okay. So I'll come back to that later. Um, oh, okay. Start now. But you touched upon something else that I wanted to talk about, and that is not being able to do everything yourself, but knowing what it is or knowing enough about the different services to be able to clearly communicate to your employees and contractors and to be able to clearly communicate to your clients. And so to me, that just shows the power of niching, of being able to be an expert in one area and then being able to leverage other people's expertise to provide better services to your clients. And I know you said you want to know more about these areas. You would like to be able to offer it to your clients yourself, but you're not doing that. And I wanted to kind of get a little bit more from you on why you're not doing that. Is it because you don't have the leeway, you don't have the time, you have other things in your life? I mean, why is it that you've decided you're going to stick basically to your own lane and hire other people that are experts in their own lane to form a congruent team rather than doing it all yourself?
There's not enough time. And there's also some people are really, really good at coding. And when you build a website that has got a really strong back end, um, you hire a coder to do it, to take the existing framework and then build it out. Why would I want to take the time to learn code? I would rather hire somebody that's an expert at it that would provide something that is probably much superior than what I could possibly imagine because they have the expertise in that. But what I enjoy doing, and I think it's partly because I'm a writer that I try and see the picture and then write about that picture, is to be able to take help bring people together that can create an end result that's beneficial to the client. Um, so I don't want to take the time, and also I'm towards the end of my work life, even though I'm going to continue working into my 70s, hopefully into my 80s. Um, I have other interests besides business. I'm trying to write a book, and like to travel and spend time with grandkids and spend time with my wife. And it's like, you know, there's only so much that a person can do. And and for those people who are in my age group, which is like 60 to 70, um, you start thinking about what have I really accomplished in my life? And what do I want to accomplish with the time that's left? And how much value do I place on the business, or how much value do I place on quality of life? And right now, quality of life is becoming more and more important because the end game is the end. And I'd rather go places and meet people and talk to people and see things and write about them and experience rather than having to immerse myself totally in business.
But and so I would say that people who are even younger need to be thinking about these things as well, because to me it seems like it would cost you a lot more in time, in money, in relationships, in happiness to try to do it all yourself rather than just pay someone else to do it in a quarter of the time, right?
Right.
And you up to be able to do more things and make more money because you have more time to do the things that you love. Is that a fair assessment as well?
That's a fair assessment, especially in the drone business. To be able to hire people, it's sort of like manual labor in a way, flying a drone, but it's I put a person on the job site, they fly it, they give me the information, and it's a fractional thing. So if I'm paying them um, a little more than half of what I earn, and then I make the other 45% for just sitting in front of a computer and organizing stuff and get it to the client, hey, I'm all for that, you know.
But see, and I find a lot of business owners are so scared of hiring people because they don't want to let go of that income, but they don't realize or recognize that when they hire more people, they can leverage it. And like you said, instead of doing all of the work, now they're making more money per hour,
Right?
right, than they were previously.
Sure. And it enables them to go out and farm for more clients, more customers, and also not be so stressed about making sure that the job gets done because somebody else is doing it, and being able to generate incrementally more revenue over a longer period of time because of the frequency of income.
That Thank you. And so another thing I wanted to talk to you about is customers. I mean, how do you get customers? What have you found works best for you? Is that still something that you're continuously trying to revamp? How is that working and has
Um,
worked?
so I've been fortunate to have, we'll do this again. Um, I haven't been real aggressive in finding customers. Um, I get referrals from existing customers. I also have had long-term relationships with my clients, and some of those relationships have turned into friendships. But business comes first, and then friendship second. So it enables me to have a cushion, think of it as a shopping mall. You've got your anchor stores and then a bunch of little shops. So for me, the anchor stores have provided a nice revenue over the years. The shops they come and go, and I'll have a relationship with some. They'll find somebody else to do it, or they decide that what I've provided for them is sufficient. So it's a it's a continual process of wanting to get more of those shops. The bigger box stores are are very heavy in terms of time commitment, and I would rather um, have more frequency and do projects because that's also the way my mind works, as opposed to having a bunch of big clients.
But-
So to answer your question, how do I market? Um, I meet people, I go to business meetings, I'll go to networking events. I used to belong to a chamber of commerce. Didn't find much business there. But it's also about relationships, and most of my business comes through referrals.
So you're building relationships.
Always. Yeah.
And that's the
So,
best way to create clients and to create a business that people can know, like, and trust,
right.
right? Um, so with that, and something you said kind of caught me is that you're also clear on the types of clients that you want that align with your vision in your life, correct?
Right. I there's certain things that I like to write about, which is more industrial, technology oriented, um, heavy equipment. Uh, but, yeah, we'll do this again. So there's certain relationships with companies I like to have, or types of companies I like to have, and and maybe it's because I've been doing it a long time and sort of comfortable with that, but I also understand it, which is the heavy equipment, rental equipment type of business. And I've helped two businesses to grow because of the service that I provide them, and it's satisfying for me to see that. But at the same time, I maybe I'm too comfortable with that, and I'm not really pushing myself to get out there and get more of that. But it's also timing. You know, if I were 20 years younger, say, or even 30 years younger, and I had substantially more energy than I do now, or just had the will to get out there and really market, I would spend more time doing it, because it's those kind of early years in the business that you want to be able to establish relationships with people, try and get long-term relationships with other businesses that you want to serve, and be able to provide them on a consistent basis and grow with them over time in order to continue to provide that service. And I think growth is important. Understanding where that business is, and from a marketer, understanding where the client is, what their objectives are, and where they want to go, and to be able to along the way make suggestions, recommendations, implementation of those ideas to be able to get them to another level. So,
That's wonderful. And one thing you said is if you were 20 years younger, 30 years younger, um, in my opinion, and right, wrong, or indifferent, I think that business is very subjective. Success in business is very subjective. And it seems to be like you are successful where you are because you're happy with what you have. You're working the hours that you want. You're aligned with the clients that you have. You're spending time with your wife and the grandkids and traveling and doing the things that you love. And so I don't know. I would not necessarily say growing your business is success,
mm,
right? It can be, but it can not be. It just depends on the individual and what your own goals are for your business and why you have it.
that's true. And I think about that a lot. I look at other businesses, the names of the businesses, and there's always an awareness that somebody started that business. and they're occupying that warehouse space, or they're in an entire building. But it was one or two people or a handful of people that said, we should do this. And it's a choice they made. They decided to grow something because of whatever they have, that people needed or other businesses needed, and expanded beyond. I had lunch the other day with a fellow who owns an advertising agency. He's very successful, and he started with three other guys, and or two other guys, and he ended up buying them out, and now his business is like huge. But he worked at it, and he's very driven, and he's very focused, and he's very engaged in serving his clients in a particular niche. So it's possible to be that successful, um, and but I can also see that it also takes away from other things. So you make a choice. I think it goes back to the quality of life issue question: is what do you want your quality of life to be? And knowing that you can be ultimately successful, hugely successful, have a lot of money, and there's maybe there's something lacking, or maybe there's not, but you have to make that decision what it is.
But
Yeah.
so it seems to me like the theme of this whole podcast today has been clarity, right? And being
Right.
intentional, being clear on what you want, being clear on what clients you want, being clear on what you want to spend your time with and on, right? And being clear as to your end goal and how you want to grow your business.
Correct.
And so there's no right or wrong way of doing it. There's only a right or wrong way for you individually with your business and your life.
And you have to know I think I'm a feeler person, so you have to know how it feels to be successful, and decide if it doesn't feel right, if it's really too much stress, or if it's not enough stress, which stress can be a motivator, then you have to listen to yourself. And if you're starting to snap at other people or say terrible things to employees, maybe it's time to really rethink about the direction it's going in. But if everything is great and everything's moving smoothly, if you're listening to other people tell you what's going on and whether or not they value working at a place, or they value working for you, then there's nourishment there. There's a positive thing going.
That
It's yeah,
yes, it's very subjective, right? And it
right.
does depend on other people and your own happiness. Because, like you said, if you're working and you have a multi-million-dollar business, but you're miserable, is that really success? Right?
I don't think so. Yeah.
It's not to me. It might be to someone else, but it's not for me, right? So first, I would like to thank you so much for being here today. There was a lot of great nuggets, especially the clarity part. Um, the other thing is I need your contact information. So if people wanted to contact you, hire you, learn more about your businesses and what you do, how would they get that?
They could go to, I have two websites, loganoaks.com and skydata.uav.com.
And both of those will be in the comments below here. So you can get them at any time. And then the last thing is, as a parting gift to our audience, what is your number one advice for them as business owner?
Enjoy what you do.
Well, there you have it, folks. Enjoy what you do from David Oakes. Thank you so much for coming on the show today and giving us your story. And we will see you all next time. Have a great day.